All right, guys, you probably already saw the title of the video, but today we are talking about the files. We got to talk about it because this is a huge situation that men of God actually have to step up in, or things are not going to go the way we want them to. And so we're going to break it all down to you today on the Men of God Pod. Okay, so obviously this is a heavy issue, but it's absolutely necessary that we talk about it on here because it's not about politics. It's actually about the truth and protecting kids, because there's a lot of leaders right now in the FBI, the administration that's over the United States right now, saying that we shouldn't care about this, or that, you know, it's there's no evidence and all this stuff after years and years of all of this stuff about Epstein. He was in jail for a reason, you know. There's so much stuff, and even someone else that was in jail. But all that to say, of course we should talk about this as men of God, because you know what we're called to do. And I was going to get into this later, but I'll just say it right now. Ephesians tells us to expose the evil, take no part in the evil deeds of darkness, but instead expose the evil. And so it's not about just not doing those things. It's about exposing the evil that's taking place right now. So that's why we got to talk about this. Of course it is. And as a man of God, I'm not going to ignore this, and I don't want you to either. So if that's something that you like, click the subscribe button, and we're going to start out with the latest news that just came out. So quick summary real quick of the recent things that have happened. The FBI claims that there's no evidence to open investigations. Trump has told us that we should stop talking about Epstein, which is not true. And I actually support Trump, and I think he's done a lot of great things. I think God actually saved him by divine intervention on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania, for such a time as this, to lead this country and to save this country. But that doesn't mean he's going to be perfect, and it doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everything he does. And so this situation in itself, I disagree with how Trump is handling it, how the president is going about telling us, because I did vote for this. As a man of God, I voted for evil to be exposed, and this was a part of that. And so he's saying that, the FBI is saying there's no evidence, and then the latest thing right now is that Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Daily Mail says Ghislaine Maxwell, is ready to reveal the truth of the pedophile client list. And we don't know if that's actually going to happen, because if there really is people in Congress or high up people that need to be protected by this in a bad way, that are blackmailing maybe, you know, I'm not even insinuating that it's Trump. I'm insinuating that it's a third party. That's my theory. It's a third party. And if it is, and if there's heavy influence, then is Congress even going to let her testify? You know, that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm thinking about right now. But anyways, that's the recent events. And this is not a partisan thing either. Like, it's not because I'm on the right. It's not because some people are on the left. Both parties want the truth to be told, I'm pretty sure. You know, well, not always, but I think this issue in itself is showing us that we can work together if we really want to. And I know that there are people that are Democrats that want the same thing as me right now, and that's the truth, so we can expose the evil, expose the darkness, and actually protect future kids from being trafficked and future kids from being involved in situations like this, right? So I don't know if you guys remember, but a little bit ago, there was this picture of a bunch of influencers, which the Attorney General of the United States handed them, and it says the Epstein Files Phase 1. So as supporters, we were all under this, the idea that the truth was going to come out, right? They were given binders, and I don't think it's the influencers' fault. I don't think they even knew that this wasn't the whole thing, because I don't know why the Attorney General would even give them that if she didn't know. There's different theories with that, but what I'm saying is I don't think it's their fault, but I don't like this at all. It's not a good look for the administration. It's not a good look for all the believers that are supporters of the Republican Party, of the MAGA movement, that were voting on supporting the revealing of these files and the unredacted, like, real truth of the situation, so that we can know who's behind this stuff and expose them. So it's not a good look for them to come out over-promising like this and then under-delivering on the truth by saying, oh, actually now there's no evidence to the open investigations. So my question, as a man of God, as Christians, as men, what are they trying to hide? You go from these binders to now saying there's no evidence. There's obviously something in the middle that's a missing piece. I don't know if that's someone in the administration right now, or some people think it's Israel that's behind it. There's people from Israel that are high up that are trying to blackmail us in a way, or other people think there's someone that's even threatening Trump and saying he can't do this, or they're going to do something to him, or there's people saying the opposite, that Trump's using this to blackmail the evil people behind this, the deep state, they call it, that we're like, he's using it as leverage. But we don't know what the truth is. All we know right now is that there's these files. The FBI says there's no evidence. Trump says we shouldn't talk about it. And now we're all left as Christians saying, hold on, we voted to protect children. I mean, think about it. The border, we don't want child trafficking. Abortion, we don't want abortions. We want to save as many children as we can. And I think a huge part of that, me personally, is the revealing of this stuff. So no, Trump, we're not going to stop talking about it. And it's not just something that we're going to blow by. Let me show you guys the video of him talking about this if you haven't seen it yet.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Okay, I get it. I get the angle he's going for, saying like there's things to worry about that are happening right now. But this is just as important, and the reporter was not wrong for that question at all. That's a good question, and we should be talking about this. We were told, and I'm not going at Trump either because he's actually done a lot of good things, but we were told as a part of his campaign that he was going to reveal the files. Now, has he promised a bunch of things and delivered on them? Yes. Most things, actually. I think like 70% of the issues he ran on are already done. Like gas prices are going down, grocery prices are going down, egg prices are down. Like the economy's going up. Tariffs were put into place, and we're like in a budget surplus now because of it. So a bunch of the campaign stuff, no taxes on tips, overtime, Social Security, all of this stuff, closing the border, it's all going well. Like the promises have been kept, except this one. And this one's very important. And I'm not even saying that I think Trump is in it, but he's either trying to protect someone that is, or he's in it in a way. We all know he's in the flight logs or a flight log on a private plane with Epstein's jet, but we don't know anything about the island that took place. So I don't know what to believe right now. But all I'm saying is we should be fighting for the truth as Christians, and men of God don't excuse this kind of thing. You know, we don't just say, yeah, we're going to blow by that and just stop. Because that's not standing on your beliefs. I've always been pretty outspoken and bold on all the things, and I've stuck with that. So of course I'm going to stick up for this. But God particularly hates this kind of thing because he hates anyone who causes suffering for children. It actually says in Proverbs 31 verse 8, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. So that, coupled with the exposing of the light, expose the darkness instead of taking part of it, those two verses make it abundantly clear for me as a Christian and a man that we gotta get down to the bottom of the truth of this stuff. And who knows, maybe the last administration destroyed a lot of it. Maybe that's what happened, and they didn't even look at it until it's too late. But regardless, the truth will come to the light. I think that's even in the Bible. Like the truth will come to the light. The truth will set you free. And of course, we know that like all the children, if they were involved with this and died, that they would be in heaven. You know, it's assumed they would be in heaven, so that's great. But I think we still owe it to them to fight to expose the evil of these guys, or these powerful people that do these evil things. We've been told for the past like 20 years that there's been a huge list of people, and now suddenly there's no list. Like, it doesn't make sense. And it's not right for us to sit back, like Trump says, and just stop talking about it. It's not right. But what should we do? I'm not here to just complain about the problems. What should we do right now? And what can we do? Because, of course, we're not in the positions of power. We're not up there with them. We can't do everything that the government can do, right? But what should we do? Of course, number one always is we got to pray for the truth to come out. We got to pray for exposure of these evil people. But not only that, but we need to speak up. When we're told to be silent, like in this situation, we actually need to speak up and be louder about it and reveal these things, expose evil, pressure these people, pressure them into releasing it, because I voted for that. You voted for that probably. Like, as men, we have to be the first ones to defend them by speaking up and striving for the truth, and not only praying, but pressuring these people. And then last thing, be even bolder. I like to call it fearless. We need to be fearless in times like this, because it's going to take men of God to do this. It's going to take our bravery, our courage, and fearlessness to pressure people to get to the bottom of truth. And I don't care who I offend by saying that. I don't care who I go against, whether it's the president, whether it's the left, or whether it's my family. I don't care who I have to go against to pursue the truth. And I think we need to have that mindset in this situation and every situation. Become the provider of protection for your family and your community. These little girls were trafficked. These little boys were trafficked. We need to be the people that are defending them as men of God. That's why I voted for border protection and the revealing of this stuff. But you can do it in your house, in your community, by being brave, being fearless. And just as much as we want to do something about it on this national scale, it's just as important as in your community, because things happen like this locally too. People get trafficked all the time locally. It's not just about Epstein. And so that's where I do have a common ground with Trump. This guy was a creep, and he's gone. But there are and will be other people that will come and try to do the same thing. And so I'm calling on you as a man to step up as a man of God and protect innocent lives at all costs, all levels, unborn, born, vulnerable. It doesn't matter. Protect all lives. That's what your role is. That's what your role as a man is. Your role is to protect and provide and lead. And how are you going to do that? By being quiet and being scared and backing down and being passive. You won't. And the world will collapse without men of God. And so I'm calling you today to do that. Speak up, be bold, protect your family, protect your community, and don't stop talking about this. This is just the beginning. We're going to get to the bottom of it by speaking up and pressuring people to come out. Let's do it. Let's become men of God. And if you're interested even more in what I have to say, I wrote a book about this called Fearless Masculinity, about not being passive, about stepping up into the fire and being a man when the world calls you toxic for doing that. So it's in the bio, in my description if you want to order one, but feel free to check that out, and I'll see you guys next one. But we're going to keep pursuing the truth. And if you want any more topics covered, comment them below. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.